But remember, even people can record their life with their cell phones. So the long and short of that is that be careful with what you say, especially if you will be mentioning people's names, you will be accusing people all sorts of things. If you are not sure about your story, make a habit of using the word alleged. But remember, even that word cannot be abused. As much as we are here to exercise our rights enshrined in Section 16.1 of the Constitution, freedom of expression, that right and the other rights can be limited. And the rights on Section 16.1 are limited again by Section 16.2 and Section 36, the limitation clause. So let's exercise our rights with responsibility, because the host and the moderators of this live will be held responsible. We won't be held, not will be, won't be held responsible for any utterances made on this live. On that note, thank you for over 30,000 likes, guys. Thank you for that. Let's keep doing that. That is what motivates us to keep going. Those likes, guys, and those gifts. Mini Deko by Zanele, Tandolwe to Goji Berry and Luyanda Ardikili. Thank you very much, guys, for those gifts. Those are the things that motivate us to stay here with you this evening and all other evenings. Now, somebody says, Queenie N, my network is humbling me. Askis Queenie In, try to go in and out. Try to go in and out, guys, if you are having network problems, and see if it will persist. So the day started with Advocate Zitulele Khumalo correcting himself and correcting the judge. Remember, official minister did mention yesterday that both of them were wrong regarding the language that was used by Captain Masetla, Captain Mamchedi Masetla. That was corrected on this platform by official minister last night. So this morning, Zitulele Khumalo went to read, after listening to official minister, he went to read the report as well and satisfied himself of the definition that Captain Masetla said. His conclusion was that they are excluded, not that the DNA was negative, like Khumalo was saying, not that it was inconclusive, like Rata was saying, but the language that was used in the report is that DNA results are saying they are excluded. That is the language that was used by Mamchedi Masetla, Captain. So that is the only issue that Khumalo dealt with. And by the way, guys, official minister has apologized that he is running late, so don't fight with me. Don't start thinking that I'm chasing my team. And Brenda, you'll have to come and explain yourself. People don't believe me. They saying there's something wrong with you not coming on the panel, sitting on the comment section. So you'll have to come and explain yourself. They are thinking I fired you, Brenda. So please come and explain that I've got nothing to do with you choosing to sit on the comment section. It's your network that has everything with you sitting on the comment section. So you'll have to come and explain yourself. Thank you, Zulu Star Best. So after Zitulele Khumalo, we had to advocate Charles Munisi doing his cross-examination of Sergeant Batbakai Belina Mogola. And he started with the issue that Khumalo corrected of the DNA results. And he walked on the same trajectory that Khumalo walked on yesterday by trying to say the DNA results were negative. They are saying his client was not there. And the judge was quick to say, Mr. Munisi, you are wrong, 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 wrong. I think he repeated it 4 times, like I'm saying. I'm not exaggerating. That's how he said it. He repeated it 4, if not 5 times, that you are wrong. Now, this is interesting, guys. You know, whenever we have this debate between the judge and Baloyi or the defense about the interpretation of that DNA evidence, it's giving us an idea of where this matter is going and how it's going to be settled. I indicated that yesterday, so I'm not going to repeat it again. So they moved away from that language because we know the language here, Captain Masetla, was that not included, or they are excluded for various reasons that Baloyi explained. And then again, Advocate Mnisi acted like Advocate Mnisi. He tried to become condescending. There's a word that I've always heard people using, but I never really got to understand the actual meaning of this word, but I'm using it today. He was condescending. He was trying to be condescending towards Sergeant Mogola. And boy, Sergeant Mogola fired back this time. She fired back. It was so exciting to listen and to hear, because we've always said in this life, these so-called lawyers, the so-called advocates, they are very disrespectful, and when witnesses fires back at them, when witnesses give it back to them, they want the judge to protect them. And that's not how things work. Respect goes ways. We've always said it in this life that witnesses are not accused persons. You don't treat them like that. They are there to assist the court. So because when you are a lawyer, you are an advocate, you are not entitled to scream and shout at witnesses and treat them as if they are kids. So Mnisi tried to lecture Sergeant Mogola about her responsibility as an officer of the court, that she has a duty to the court, to assist the court. And before he could complete that, Sergeant Mogola was like, but you don't have to teach me. You don't have to lecture me. You don't need to. What gives you the authority? What gives you the authority? Where do you get that authority to lecture me? I know why I'm here. I know my responsibility. And Mnisi wanted to argue about that. The judge intervened. The judge said, yes, why are you lecturing her? And the judge asked Sergeant Mogola, how many times have you testified in court? She said, over 100 times. And the judge said, that's it. This person knows why she's here. There's no need for you to lecture her. And Mnisi wanted to persist with that argument, but the judge overruled him and said, you are going to leave that line of questioning because I'm making the ruling. And Mnisi now wanted to fight with the judge, asking the judge why, on what basis is he making that ruling. And the judge was telling him very simple, I'm in charge of these proceedings. I'm the judge. Do I even have to remind you, Mr. Mnisi? Hey, these lawyers. In any case, we moved away from that point and he kept on probing Sergeant Mogola as to whether did she meet with the family of the deceased when they started taking over the matter, which is the same line of questioning that we had yesterday from the other lawyers. And Sergeant Mogola was consistent with her responses that she did not meet with the family because she was given assignment. She was not working as an island. There's a lead investigator in this case. And I think there's something that these lawyers are missing. You know, there are cases that are investigated by one investigating officer. In that scenario, you would expect that IO to know everything about the case. But in a case where there's a team and there's a leader, like Mogola was explaining, and that leader is not just a leader, it's a brigadier. Remember, guys, brigadier is senior management of the SAPS. It's top management, not even middle management. top management of the SAPS. Now, when the leader is that kind of a guy, you don't do as you wish. You work according to instructions. And that's what Mogola has been consistently saying since yesterday, that maybe Brigadier Gininda may have met with them. I don't know. He does not account to me. It's vice versa. I account to him. And when Mogane briefed him, he does not have an obligation to brief me. And then he asked her again if did he have a meeting with the team that investigated the other docket 375. She said, no, I didn't, but I was assigned with the task of going to go and get copies of the statements that were in that docket. And I met with Colonel Buthelezi just for the purpose of getting the copies of the statements. And then he took Sergeant Mogola through the issue of the cell phones that were confiscated from accused number 1, Muzisibiya, when he was arrested. And this is one interesting point, guys. I'm going to pause again here and go out of script a little bit. You know, when these lawyers make this kind of statements in this court, because today Charles Mnisi accused Sergeant Mogola of fabricating evidence of being dishonest to the court. Now, these are the kind of statements that makes breaking news on social media streets. But those assertions are incorrect, are completely wrong and baseless, because Charles Mnisi is accusing Sergeant Mogola of being dishonest and fabricating evidence because she did not testify about confiscating Muzi's phones when they arrested him, when she was testifying in the trial within a trial. But here's the point, guys, and this is a simple point. The confiscation of cell phones during arrest was not a relevant matter in the trial within a trial. The trial within a trial was concerned with one issue, where the confessions taken lawfully. That's it. That's what the trial within a trial was concerned with. Not the confiscation of the cell phones, not what was found on the cell phones. That was irrelevant. And Judge Rata has consistently said this, that in this trial, I've listened to a lot of irrelevant testimonies. He's asked, how does this line of questioning help with determining the admissibility of these confessions? It's as simple as that. That issue was irrelevant. There was no need for Sergeant Mogola to mention it. Moreover, that she knew that she will be coming back on the main trial to testify about the other issues that happened, and that's exactly what she did. So there was no obligation on her part to testify about the confiscation of phones. But what was bizarre, again, about Charles Mnisi's line of questioning on this issue is that Sipora Mosepile has not put a version, not even Sipora Mosepile, Ngomezulu, has not put a version to Sergeant Mogola saying the phones were not confiscated during the arrest, were taken elsewhere. That's not a version that we've had. So as to why Charles Mnisi is saying Mogola is fabricating the evidence, suggesting that the cell phones were not confiscated when Muzi was arrested, I don't know where he get that. Only him knows about that. But in any case, that matter was left. And then he also asked her about the description that were given by some of the people who were in the house of the intruders, especially Longwe and Kelly Khumalo, who described one of the intruders as short with big eyes and dark. That's the description that was given to Warrant Officer Steenkamp. So he asked Sergeant Mogola to comment on that. Sergeant Mogola did not have much comment on that, but the long and short of this, line of questioning was that ultimately Munisi indicated that accused number three, the guy that he's representing, has always been light in complexion. So the description by Kelly and Longwe to Warrant Officer Steenkamp that he was dark simply means they were describing somebody else, not his client. And his client's version was that he was not there. He knows nothing. And then he also dealt with the issue of the revolver, which was canvassed yesterday, that the three people who were in the house, Khumalo, actually Kelly Khumalo, Longwe, and Tumelo's testimony points to the fact that or to the suggestion that there was a revolver that shot Senzo, or the person who entered first in the house had a revolver. So again, Sergeant Mogola did not have much to comment on that. And then again, Charles Munisi tried to bring in the issue of the DNA evidence, that it does not link accused number 3. Mogola said no comment. Again, there was an argument regarding that, whether DNA evidence link accused number 3 or not. And then he took Sergeant Mogola through the pictures of accused number 3, showing him having those braided dreadlocks. And again, he compared that with the identity that was drawn by Warrant Officer Steenkamp based on the information she got from the people in the house. And he put it to her that whoever Steenkamp drew could have not been accused number 3, because his dreadlocks were braided. And remember, that picture was taken in the morning of the day Senzo was murdered. But what Charles Munisi stayed away from, which is crucial again to this case, is that the clothes that that guy was wearing in that picture on that day are the same clothes or similar clothes that were described by the people in the house. So that is the important point for the state case. But the important part for Munisi is that the description that was given by state witnesses is completely different from how accused number 3 looked on that day. And then he started putting the version of accused number 3 that he will come and tell the court that he knows nothing about the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. He was not there. He don't know how he was murdered. He doesn't know how many people were there. Basically, he's saying he was not there. The person that they described that was dark in color is not him. He's always been light in complexion. And then, as he was about to conclude his cross-examination, he asked Sergeant Mogola about the issue of common purpose, that these accused are, one of the charges is that they are accused of committing murder in common purpose. And he asked her, what does that mean? Where do they get that? And Sergeant Mogola responded by saying, I know that there is a mastermind. And now, this is where I said this is important. As much as this is not breaking news to some of us in this platform, it is significant that this came from Sergeant Mogola. It is significant that this came from the investigating team. Remember, guys, the issue of the mastermind has always been widely on media. And most importantly, we've heard about it more from AfriForum's advocate Gerinel, that there is a mastermind. So it's for the first time the investigating team, over and above Gininda mentioning Kelly's name last year in his affidavit in passing, it is for the first time that the investigating team is mentioning it on record that there is a mastermind. And later on, Sergeant Mogola did not have any difficulty when Charles Munisi asked her. Charles Munisi initially wanted to avoid asking her who is the mastermind. He went to consult with accused number 3, and he had a little chat with his other colleagues. I think they must have told him, ask her that question. So he ultimately asked Sergeant Mogola, who is this mastermind? Do you know the name? Do you know where the person stay? And Sergeant Mogola did not have any difficulty to answer that question. And she answered, the person is Nonhlanhla Kelly Khumalo. So we know it, guys, as a matter of fact. We are no longer scared of saying this. When you go out at clubs over the weekend, when you go out at Chisanyamas, when you are in good mood, in bed, at home, you don't want to fight, you can now all agree that the mastermind in the Senzo Meyiwa trial is allegedly Miss Nonhlanhla Kelly Khumalo. That comes from the investigating officer, Sergeant Bathobakai Belina Mogola. So that is the point that I think we can all agree. We know those who've always wanted the people in the house to be arrested are going to say she's being framed. On what basis? Definitely they are not going to tell us, but we won't entertain them. So that's what we got. As much as it's not breaking news, but it was significant that it came from the member of the investigating team. So that is their conclusion, and they are sticking to it, that Kelly Khumalo is the mastermind. And I said during the day, that confirms what we've always been saying, that it's not a matter of whether Kelly will be arrested or not. For me, it's a matter of when will that happen. Now, Advocate Baloyi will be under more pressure to explain to the nation why Kelly Khumalo is not being arrested. It looks like he's going to take his time. He's not going to bow to public pressure. He's going to stick to his strategy of completing this trial and only pulling the trigger after this trial is concluded. But we will see. Now the cat is completely out of the bag. We are not only seeing the head, the whole cat is out of the bag. And then after Charles Mnisi completed his cross-examination, we had re-examination from Advocate George Baloyi. And this is the part that I like, guys. Re-examination. And more often than not, this is the part that some people do not put much attention on. Re-examination. Re-examination is important, guys, because it gives you an idea of the issues that are contested, and it gives you an indication of the holes that the state want to close, the holes that the defense attempted to create. Re-examination is very important. I like that part of the trial. And Advocate George Baloyi started by placing it on record, by correcting Advocate Mnisi as incorrect evidence. And again, I must pause here and state that these are kind of statements that are made by the defense that makes breaking news on the streets. And even when they are corrected, the streets keeps on running with those incorrect statements, and they celebrate those incorrect statements. Now, if you remember the issue of the Samsung S4 phone, it started with Zithulele Khumalo when he was cross-examining Sergeant Musia. Remember, Sergeant Musia was requested to bring his entire album of the photos that he took on the crime scene. And when Musia brought the whole album, they picked up one picture of a white Samsung phone, and they said, this is the phone that the state alleged that it was taken by the intruders. But here we see it on the picture. That was the allegation by Zithulele Khumalo. And Baloyi stood up at that time and said, that's not true. That is Tumelo Madlala's cell phone. we've got evidence that there was a cell phone that was taken, objective evidence by Colonel Steyn that that cell phone was traced near Vosloorus, near Basotho Hostel. So there is that objective evidence that one of Kelly Khumalo's cell phones was taken, but Zitulele Khumalo sought to argue at the time that it was not taken based on that picture. Now, Charles Mnisi brought that same argument again, that the charge relating to the robbery of a cell phone was wrong. He wanted Mogola to comment on that, and that's another interesting point that the judge took up with all of them. But Baloyi again stood up and said, this is incorrect. There is a cell phone that was taken. Objective evidence by Colonel Steyn has been led that that phone was traced next to Basotho Hostel. This phone that you are referring to, there's objective evidence again to prove that it's a Samsung S3. It's a white Samsung S3 that belonged to Tumelo Madlala. Tumelo Madlala testified to that effect, but over and above that, Colonel Steyn testified to that effect, also relying on the register that was marked by Lieutenant Colonel Nietleng, who took the phones on that day, that the white Samsung S3 belonged to Mr. Tumelo Madlala. So again, Baloyi corrected the record that Mnisi wanted to muddy. But my worry is that this kind of incorrect statements are celebrated elsewhere on social media, and people hold on to that. And when you engage people, they want to stick to that kind of assertions which have been proven to be wrong, to be incorrect. But some people choose to hold on to that. So Baloyi rubbished that and threw that attempt by Mnisi to create new evidence out of the window. And then he also confirmed something that we were not sure of on Monday? Actually, I'm not sure if it was on Monday or Friday when Ramosepele was cross-examining Sergeant Mogola, making an assertion, making a suggestion that the samples, the buccal samples that were taken from Bongani Ntanzi were taken by Sergeant Mokhani. So Sergeant Mogola was not sure. All that she said was that she got the samples from Sergeant Mokhani in a seal bag. As to who took them, she couldn't say. All that she could confirm again was that Sergeant Mokhani was not qualified to take buccal samples. So Baloyi corrected that no, we know the person who took those buccal samples. It was not Mokhani, because it was put to Mogola that Mokhani took those samples a day before these guys appeared in court in a rush. But evidence showed that no, these samples were taken in June already by Sergeant Mashele. And Sergeant Mashele, we know he's going to be called to come and close that gap of the chain of custody for those buccal samples. And then he also clarified another misleading statement that is being celebrated on the social media street. Remember, last week Ngomezulu put it to Sergeant Mogola that there were conflicting sealback numbers regarding the cell phones that were confiscated from Muzisibia. The sealback number that Sergeant Mogola had, according to Ngomezulu, differs from the one that Colonel Hose referred to, or Lieutenant Colonel Hose referred to. So Ngomezulu was suggesting that they are not the same, and Sergeant Mogola said, no, I'll have to go and check as to what could have been the case. And again, official minister came here and said, there's no issue there, nothing. Because the sealback that Hose referred to, or the sealback number that Colonel Hose referred to, was the one that was sealed after the phones were analyzed, and the clarity again was given. But in the minds of some people, they are still contradicting sealback numbers. And it gets irritating when you try to engage people on these things and they want to argue those points that have been corrected or that have been rubbished by objective evidence. And he also dealt with the evidence that Ngomezulu put to Sergeant Mogola, that the guys who arrested Muzi in 2019, Sergeant Mudau and Sergeant Baloi, were arresting him for the Senzo Meiwa case. And the question there was that, were those two guys part of this investigation team? And the response was simple: no, they were not. And remember, Sergeant Mogola consistently said that their statements did not say they arrested him for this case. They arrested him for the drug case, and that drug case has been closed. And although Sergeant Mogola could not testify how that case was closed, in this life we can tell you that Muzi Sibiya, accused number 1, was found guilty of that case, of that matter of possession of drugs and unlawful possession of ammunition. He was convicted and sentenced, yet the streets will still tell you that those were trumped up charges. Hogwash. But we know in this life that he was convicted and sentenced in the trial. And then Sergeant Mogola also was given an opportunity to clarify the misleading statements that Muzi gave to the investigation team, that it was Makimbi and Marco who killed Senzo. She confirmed that the investigation revealed that that was misleading. And people have been saying this, that the state wants the court to believe one aspect of the confession, Muzi, and not the other. But here's the difference, guys. There's a very huge significance here. The misleading statements by Muzi that Makimbi and Marco are the ones who entered the house were investigated. The police did not take that lightly. They investigated that. And the investigation came back negative, that those guys were in prison at that time. Now, that confirms objectively that Muzi was deliberately misleading the police. And he did that knowing very well that the other guy, Marco, when by the time he was giving his statement, his confession, Marco had already been killed by the police. So he knew the police would not find Marco to try and corroborate that. He thought he was being smart. But now, the other aspects that Muzi also confessed to were investigated as well, and they turned out to be true. And that one aspect that the police investigated that Muzi confessed was that before Senzo was murdered, they went to consult an Inyanga. And we all know who that Inyanga is. One of my favorite witnesses, Dr. Lion Robert Zwane. Muzi told the police in his confession that they went to consult with Dr. Robert Lion Zwane. He gave them Moody before, and they went to see him again after they had done the job. And we know Dr. Zwane came to testify. Dr. Zwane came to testify and told us that yes, Nyamwazo Mfanaga Sibiya. He came with two people. Those two people, I cannot point them. I don't know them. But Usibiya, I know him because I had seen him more than once. I had seen him more than twice. Usibiya. I remember Sibiya because at first he came alone or with one person saying, by way, there's work that they need to go and do. I need to check for them if the coast is clear. And he checked that. And then he gave them whatever that he gave them. And then after he gave them, they came back and said, umsebenzi has been done, but kukhona umuntu olimele. The job has been done, but somebody got injured. And he assisted them again, corroborating the story that Muzi told the police, Dr. Zwan. And Muzi on that day when Zwan was testifying, he was lamb. He couldn't raise his hand, he couldn't object because he knows Baba Zwan's powers. He can't say Umkholo is lying. You know, these guys have been raising their hands up and down, correcting state witnesses that they are lying. But he could not correct Baba Zwan because he knew Baba Zwan doesn't mess up. So Baba Zwan's testimony was never corrected by Muzi. It was never denied. It was never objected to by Muzi. But the most important part of Zwan's corroboration was when they took him to Ireton. When Gininda's team took Baba Zwane to Ireton, the police offices, when they got there, Muzi was brought from another room. And when Baba Zwane saw Muzi, he said, how? Wemfana kazbi? Kwenze njani? Guys, now, these are the investigations that were conducted by the police coming out of Muzi Sibiya's confession. And certain parts were confirmed, no doubt about it. So you cannot compare those inconsistencies with other. There was a thorough investigation to disprove and to confirm that Muzi attempted to mislead the police. And you can tell why he attempted to do that. And then Sergeant Mogola was asked if she has any reason to cook the case because she was accused of cooking the case with the team, and she said she does not have any reason to do that. She was asked if she knows any of this accused before court. She says no, she doesn't know them, so that closed the issue of cooking. There's no reason for this investigation team to cook anything. And then she was also asked in re-examination about the story that Longwe is the one killed Senzo. She read the statement by Longwe, which again says, it's not me, it's the people who entered the house. So the story that is Longwe again, it was not supported by any evidence. It was just gossip from Ngomezulu, guys. Gossip. And this is the same gossip that has frustrated this case. This is the same gossip that has put the careers of excellent investigators like Lieutenant Colonel Joyce Buthelezi, Warrant Officer Makubo in jeopardy. Gossip, conspiracy theories. These guys, they believed those theories, not supported by any shred of evidence. And they chose to run with that. And they wanted to charge people for murder with no evidence. And he also took Sergeant Mogola through the statement made by Sifiso Meiwa. And the significance of that again was that that statement was only made 5 years later. The same question that Tumelo asked about the statement of Mr. Hlophe, that if these guys had this important information, why did they keep quiet all along for 5 years and only make those statements after 5 years? That's because they were cooking, not what we're hearing in court. And then in conclusion, I think they dealt with the issue of the warning statements that were taken from all the accused. Sergeant Mogola placed on record the dates on which the warning statements were taken, and the question was, in between those dates and the time they were arrested, what was happening? And Mogola said, we were investigating. And in conclusion, the judge, after Baloyi finished his re-examination, the judge raised a very important issue. The issue again, guys, which confirms that some of the things that we've been listening to in cross-examination are irrelevant. Remember, Sergeant Mogola was asked many times about the charges that these guys were charged with. And Sergeant Mogola avoided answering that question by saying, there is evidence that was given to the NPA. That's why we are here. We did not cook up anything. We investigated. We gave the information to the NPA. The NPA made the decision. That's why we are here. There's evidence. Ngomezulu said the people who killed Senzo are not in this case. Sergeant Mogola punched back and said, no, the people, according to the investigation, who killed Senzo are in this court. I'm looking at them right now. So Judge Ratamokgwatleng dealt with that issue, that Kanti who charges. And I think that's one issue, Mutusi, when you come here, and Ntando, you can deal with, and all other lawyers, all other legal professionals who are in this life, you can also help, because Ngomezulu wanted to argue with the judge on that issue. When judge was saying, it is the NPA, in terms of the Constitution, in terms of the NPA Act, in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, it is the NPA that charges, especially in matters that are going to the superior courts. I think Baloyi read section 144 of the Criminal Procedure Act. It is the NPA that drafts the indictment. And Rata said, there's this tendency by police officers to loosely use the word charging. I'll charge you. But in reality, according to the law that Rata knows, it is not the police that charges. The police investigate. After they investigate, they take the docket to the NPA. The NPA studies the docket. And once they study the docket, a decision is made by the director of public prosecutions whether to charge or not to charge, whether to indict or not to indict. So that's how Sergeant Mogola's cross-examination and re-examination was completed, and at the end, just minutes before the court could go on adjournment, we heard from Advocate Ngomezulu that seemingly he is being threatened. His life is under threat because yesterday, or I don't know if it was yesterday or when, there were two people who approached his house. Unfortunately, he's got dogs that started barking, and those people, they ran away. Now it would appear Ngomezulu wants bodyguards, and he wants the state to provide those bodyguards. It's not clear if that was his request, but Judge Rata indicated that there may be a need for him to be protected. But in terms of the procedure that we know, he will have to open a case. The police will have to investigate that case and make a threat analysis on him, and only then a decision can be taken whether he needs a bodyguard. So he wants to walk in court surrounded by bodyguards with machine guns and have that picture trending on social media. So we will see how that matter is being treated with. And then Ngomezulu further added that I don't know if he was trying to link this threat to the interview that Chigo had, because Chigo had an interview with Kaya FM, and in that interview, Chigo said he's incompetent. Now he's crying that Chigo is saying he's incompetent. So I don't know how that links with the threat. I'm not sure if he wants to suggest that it's Chigo who could have sent those people. It's not clear. So we will hear if this matter is being taken forward or not. So on that note, guys, my apologies for taking this long. Like I said, it was an interesting day in court. So please bear with me. Forgive me for taking this long in giving this background. Over 53 minutes. Normally I take about 20 to 30 minutes to do an introduction and summary, but today it was lit. We are getting close to completing this trial. And yeah, there's a lot of interesting developments. So thank you guys for listening to me throughout the entire 53 minutes. I hope I did not bore you. So I think we can go straight to the panel, but before that, thank you for over 316,000 likes. And thank you to our gifters as well. Ntando, I see finally the current deployment has fulfilled its responsibilities, and we are indebted to whoever assisted in making sure that that problem is resolved. Good evening, my brother.
Yeah, that issue is resolved.
Yes. Sure. No, you can proceed. Thank you.
Oh, one issue or two.
Yes.
You know, Baloyi does not want the issue of Kelly Khumalo to be ruined by anyone. I saw him objecting there when Mnosi started to ventilate on the issue with that witness. Baloyi was not happy about that.
Not happy at all.
Yeah, he was not happy. I understand him, but he's not going to make the rules. If the witness comes with examination in chief and tell us about the mastermind,
yes,
Mnisi had all the rights to cross-examine on that.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I understand him, Baloyi, on the other hand, because it might jeopardize his case that he wants to, when he charges Kelly Khumalo in the end.
Yes.
Yeah, but the judge understood Mnisi also.
Yes.
With his behavior, Mr. Mnisi, I would rather keep quiet. Let me leave it there, brother. I will answer questions as and when they come.
All right, cool.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Tande. Mutusi, good evening, my brother.
Brother, can I be skipped? Okay. Yeah, please.
All right, I think the next person, Brenda, please help me quickly. Who's next between Tandolwe 2 International and Street Preacher?
Okay, let me just check for you. Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's Street Preacher, Brandon.
Thank you and welcome. Street Preacher, good evening.
Thank you, Bradeni. Good evening to you, Bradeni. Good evening, Sis Brenda, the panel, Mutusi, Tandolwetu, Dando, and International. A very good evening to all the 1,700 plus members that are with us today. We thank you for gracing this live as usual. We thank you for your consistency. We thank you because you are all here to support not only Danny, but the truth for South Africa. Bradeni, it has been a very, very interesting couple of weeks since we came back from the recess. There's quite a lot of activities that have happened, especially the drama that the people were looking for. Because I can see that there's a very huge appetite for drama. And that drama has been riled up, has been incited in so many corners. And finally, we are getting to see the results of all the incitement that is happening all over. So I'm not going to touch or comment on the behavior of the defense lawyers, especially the respect or lack of that they are. Some of them are exhibiting in court. It goes without saying. It's very, very glaring, and there is no need to overemphasize. There's a notion that has been circulating about Moses' confession, especially during Mngomezulu's cross-examination, where he was saying, "Where is Makimba? Where is Marco?" Because they were mentioned by Muzi in his confession. But suffice to say that we all know that the Criminal Procedures Act, I think, is it section 219 or so, Motusi can correct me if I'm wrong. It specifies that a confession only applies to the one who confesses. So whether Muzi had said Makimba or Marco and Makimba were not going to be arrested because of Muzi's confession, that we know.
Yes.
So the question of asking where Marco and Makimba are because they were mentioned by Sibia in his confession, it doesn't stand. It only follows that any confession goes through a reliability test where an investigation is done. Even a confession on its own, it has to be supported by independent evidence. That is why we have a term called false confessions, because it is a phenomenon that is very, very common in law, where a confessor can be determined that the person who confessed, it is a false confession. And the case is thrown out based on that, on that aspect, because an investigation has to be done. Independent evidence has to be brought before the court to prove that the confession stands and it is reliable in its right. There is also the issue that you clarified on the chain of custody, where Mngomezulu was going all over the place about the change in seal numbers. We had actually tried to correct this narrative on several occasions to say we have a baseline that has been created in court as far as the chain of custody is concerned. We know why. I don't know whether he's a sergeant or the witness by the name Ndlovu came to testify to complete the circle. I remember that day when he testified, there was a lot of cry to say he was a useless. He was a useless witness. Why are they're wasting time? But it was because Baloyi was completing the chain of custody for those phones, and on the flip side of it, it was now being asked to say, why did the seal bag numbers change? And forgetting that they were also complaining on the same vein that Ndlovu was wasting time. So I'm glad that the person who downloaded the phones is going to come and give evidence. We also have, I think that the master stroke, I think in closing, the master stroke that I've gotten to notice in this case is Mr. Baloyi's re-examination techniques. He is very, very good when he is re-examining. He makes sure that all the narratives that would have been planted in people's minds, or all the panic that would have been created by the defense.
Sorry. More or more, I don't know, brother, but please mute. More, please mute. His name's.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So when Advocate Baloyi is re-examining, he makes sure that all the noise is quashed, all the alabalu that would have been created in the streets. He makes sure that in a few questions, all that is settled. A lot of misconceptions had been planted by the defense counsels in their cross-examination, and I'm glad that Advocate Baloyi, as usual, he comes in and he makes sure that he steadies the ship. He also makes sure that he plants the correct narrative based on and supported by the evidence that is in court. So in summary, Bradeni, I'm very happy in the direction that we are taking. It's unfortunate that Mr. Mngomezulu has had visitors last night. We don't wish any ill on anybody. We do not support any kind of intimidation whatsoever. But we should also not forget that Gulamasela out there, people come and try to steal genuinely without any association or attachment to any activities. So it's a possibility that they could have been thieves, they could have been robbers who also attempted, but fortunately, nothing was stolen. Nothing happened to him and his family, and we are very happy for that. And we hope that he's going to make a police case, and his case is going to be treated just like any other South African who approaches a police station with a complaint of intruders or potential intruders that would have visited his homestead. Otherwise, I didn't see any need for all the drama. I remember a question was asked on Zungu to say, when he was threatened, why didn't he make a police case? And when we asked the very same question to the very same people who were asking us why Zungu didn't make a police case, we are called names, and we are told that we are hardly, because it's now Mngomezulu. Mngomezulu decided to come to court without making any police report. But for Zungu, it was a different case, because he knew the people who were attacking him actually said the reasons why they wanted to attack him. But for Mr. Mngomezulu, he only saw two people attempting to get into his yard, and he concluded that it was associated with someone. And he was already mentioning names, which is very, very unfortunate for an advocate to be behaving in that manner. But in any case, I will leave it at that, Bradeni. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Street Preacher. Guys, we always plead that once you are accepted in the panel, please mute your microphone. Brilliant. If you are accepted, guys, on the panel, I don't think people come by mistake into the panel. When we accept you, you get a notification that Danny wants to go live with you or something like that. There's a notification that you accept or decline. So for you to come here, you must have accepted that notification. So I don't think people come here by mistake. So once you click yes, or once you tap yes, immediately when you get here, mute your microphone. If you don't mute within 5 seconds, we are going to remove you. 5 seconds is enough because it's disruptive when somebody's speaking and we have to pause to ask somebody to mute. 5 seconds, we mute, we remove you if you don't mute. Okay, Tandolwe too. Good evening, my brother.
Evening, Bradeni. To street preacher, Putando, and Prenda, Sis Prenda. Hi, long time. You've been down there. Yeah. To the rest of everyone that is on the comment section, family and people that are visiting or have interest to stay. Good evening, guys. I'm Bradeni. Let's get to it. Munisi bothered me to a point. I diagnosed him because I needed to understand why this guy was behaving the way he's behaving, which is my diagnosis. I might not be professional in this part. He has a multi-personality disorder. Yeah, and it's very worrying that someone could be, because he came like he was somewhere, you know, he was locked up somewhere, and then he got to be released, and upon release he just started to bark, and I don't know where his anger comes from, but I think his anger comes from somewhere. It needs to be evaluated. Nonetheless, I was bothered because by doing that, automatically, because he's representing his client. When a lawyer is standing there, he's not just standing there by himself. He's standing there because he's a representation of you. You understand? So by doing that, automatically, he's making chances become slimmer, because now the judge can no longer listen to him. You understand? Yes. He's creating a level of beef inside court that is unnecessary, unprovoked. Yes. You understand? So therefore now his client is losing a chance to be heard. This is the problem that I have about the situation. Number two, Orata goes to say that I'm older than you, because the condescending that he passes through, and he passes it's like a game, you know. It's like a game that he's playing, you know, and he does it with a smirk in his face. You can see it. It's irritating. It's annoying. To a point when I looked at Rada, I thought at some point, if Rada had a 38 special, that moment would have went down in another direction. It would have not gone well for me. This 38 they are looking for. Anyhow, Brittany, here's my problem. Rata asks them a question again, right? And the question is profound.
Yes.
That in this case, and only this case, it is the only case that I've seen that lawyers are taking instructions constantly.
Every 2 minutes.
Yes. Now, the disadvantage of this, right, is that and every time when they put up the hand, look at it, they are challenging what is before the court, or what is being placed before the court. Now, you have options when you go into a plea, right? Now, Oputano might correct me on this one. I might not say it in the chronological order that Ngomezulu was going to give us. Anyhow, now, you as an accused standing before you have a right to remain silent. That right that you were read when you were arrested, the same right goes inside the court, which is if you are going to say that I do not plead guilty in this case, that the state must prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. That means the reasonable doubt that the state needs to prove, you have a right to remain silent. You have a right to not say anything or contribute to whatever is being said inside the court. Now you are saying that the court must prove it. That means they must bring whatever it is that they have. Now listen to this. When the state brings something, and then you jump up and you put up your hand, automatically, this is another automatic. You are simply saying that you know, but now your only thing is you are disputing what is before the court. You understand? You are disputing the event's time or whatever is being placed before the court. This is your simple dispute. You are disputing that. Now, automatically, when you put that hand, that is what you are doing. That means you are acknowledging. You know, and you know very well what happened, but then you are not in agreement with the court. Now, the rights that you have and you have exercised to remain quiet, which is 1 and 2, have went into a plea and kicked the plea, which is they've given a statement. We know what they are saying. We know whatever contradicting factors that they bring to the court. We know as well whatever version that they've put to the police and what therefore became whatever was misleading to the court, right? Okay, fine. Now, whatever they put now, and then now they come back and kick and say, we don't know that. The rest of the accused, 3, 4, and 5, do not know. We do not know. We don't have a version of them. This is the powerful moment where they are supposed to remain silent. Every minute that they are putting up a hand, they are simply acknowledging. They are simply saying that, man, we know what happened, and therefore that whatever is happening or whatever has been put before the court, we do not know it, which is the right that they exercised before, right? Because you are given those rights. You have a right to remain and not to say anything, but then at the same time, you're therefore trying to kick whatever therefore is before the court, and you are kicking it when we don't have a version. The court does not know what you did on that day, where you were on that day. We do not know. Failure of the lawyers that are before the court. Now, these lawyers have failed them dismally, right? Their lawyers, by giving them their rights, they should have said, but you have a right to access to information, one. Number two, you have a right to access to a lawyer, which is me. You understand? Number three, that the fair chances of by being given all of these things, you have been given a fair chance to prepare for a defense. You understand? We are giving you equality of arms, which is, that means you are supposed to have sufficient resources, time to prepare, and the facilities to do so. When did these guys prepare, Pratini? When did they exercise all these rights that these accused were supposed to have? Now all of a sudden we are hearing things that are coming up. Now today is this, now tomorrow is that. Now they are putting up hands. What are they objecting to if you're not giving a version? We need a version. We need your version to know that on that day you went to a pizza place. On that pizza place day, you therefore went with your children, went to pick up your wife, and you went home. We don't have a version from 3 and 4 and 5. So when 3 keeps putting up his hand, what is he doing? What is he objecting to? What version do we have? That's what I wanted to say, Britain.
And Tandolo, to one of those clean examples of what you say, we saw it when Constable Sizwe Zungu was testifying. When Zungu talked about the red Uno that was present on the 26th of October 2014 at Basotho Hostel during the day that was used to go and buy liquor during the day. We saw the 3 accused, and I'm hoping Judge Rata saw that as well. We saw the 3 of them, number 3, 4, and 5, caucusing. And I said that on this live, that what we saw there was those guys asking themselves who had a red polo, a red Uno on that day. That is the question that they were asking each other, because you could see even their face. They were trying to check with each other who was there, a red Uno that day. And out of that little caucus, they came out relieved, because one of them must have told them that no, ile moto yaga ubanebane. It was a red Uno. And indeed, the results of that caucus, we got them when Charles Mnisi was cross-examining Zungu. He went straight to that issue, that did you say there was a red Uno on that day? And Zungu said yes. And Mnisi said the version of the accused is that it was a red polo, confirming what Zungu was saying, that I was with you. But the only difference that we're differing about is the model of the car. But there's an agreement on the color that it was red. So you are 100% spot on, Tandolwetu, about that analysis, that when they keep on raising their hands, challenging the versions, something that shocked Rata, that he has never seen it in his entire career. Lawyers consulting, approaching every 2 minutes. Your analysis is spot on, that it tells us that they were there. They just correcting things that did not happen in the manner in which they recall. But on the same breath, they want us to believe that they were not there. Very interesting. Thank you, Tandolwe, too. Brenda, before we go to...
I'm sorry, brother.
Yes.
And on the same issue, when you take instructions now and then in court,
yes,
the judge can easily draw an inference that you are moderating your version as the trial goes.
Yes.
You see, it's not right for the defense to do that.
Yes.
Because even on the evidence of this witness today, you heard her statement a long time ago. We should have consulted. You know what she's going to come and say.
Yes.
So why go to a client now and then? It's clear that you and your client are not ready for the trial. Or you don't have a defense. You prepare as they testify. You prepare as they testify. It can't be. That's what is going to make the judge convict these guys.
Yes.
Because they are just inferences on their behavior.
Yes.
All right, brother.
Thank you, Ntando, for raising that important point. And I'm hoping they took that as an advice from Judge Rata, like you say. It's as clear as that. I hope they took that as an advice instead of seeing it as a criticism. Brenda, I was saying before we go to Hachi, yesterday, I think you had just left. I'm not sure if you're still here. Somebody asked a question on the comment. There was a comment saying, Bradley, please be honest with us. What's happening with this Brenda? Can we just be honest? You know that person was sincere. No, Bradley, be honest with us. Something is happening that you're not telling us. So I tried to explain, guys, Brenda has got a network issue. But I'm sure that person was not convinced.
No, you are right, Bradley. No, people don't understand, Bradley. I'm a farm girl. I live in farms. So where we are, we recently being, struggling with network, and even the weather itself has been so bad. So that's only it, Bradley. That's only it. And also, I was also busy, a little busy with my assignments. But but I'm fine. No, Bradley didn't fire me, guys. I know most of you will be on strike. I'll also be on on strike as well. But nothing hectic. I'm still here.
Thank you, Brenda. I'll have to visit your area, Pella. That's what I do for a living. Sorting out places where there's network challenges. That's my daily work. So I'll have to come to your site. Maybe we can put a tower in your property.
That would be nice, Bradley.
Yes.
That would be nice, yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for over 465,000 likes. I guess tonight is one of those nights where we are likely to hit 1 million likes. So let's continue double tapping on our screens. I'm sure we can achieve another 400 in the next coming hour. And thank you to all our gifters as well. Zulu Star Bust, Babo, Bongs, Gomez, Tesh, Madlamini, Fistos, Simpiwe, Mabongs, Gojiberi, Minideko, Baizanele, Nontombi, Susanna, Su, Tandolo Etu, B, Letabo, Alibek, and Mam Shengu. Thank you guys. I think we've got the same people on Brenda's list: Gomez, Bongs, Zulu Star Bust, Madlamini, Simpiwe, Motswening, Susanna, Nontombi, Tusi, and Golden Boy. Thank you guys for all those gifts. We really appreciate them. Please keep them coming. They motivate us to stay here for as long as it takes. Hachi from Kwambeto Yajiga. Good evening.
Bradene, good evening. It's Hachi here from Kwambeto Yajiga. Let me also welcome our lady here, Sis Brenda. Welcome back home.
Thank you.
I see my seniors here, Gogo Mama, just came in, Bratando Loetu and Dando. Good evening, guys. My fellow listeners here on the comment section, we say hi here, Kwambeto Yajiga. Bradene, just a brief one. Really, the behavior of the defense lawyers It's unacceptable to say it like that. And they did not start now, by the way. Even under Judge Mahumel, they were behaving like this. And they continued this bad behavior now under Judge Rata. And now, in law, seniority is very important and it is respected, irrespective you don't agree with the senior counsel or the judge, but the manner in which you conduct yourself is very important. And it's respect is of the highest. But with these guys, it's opposite. Now, there's a question to these advocates that are with us here. You see the Black Legal Council when there are interviews of at the High Court or Supreme Court or Constitutional Court, they normally write letters of recommendations or write letters of discouraging an appointment of a certain judge. Are you with me, brother?
Yes.
Now, my question is, why are those Black Legal Council not writing to the Judge President of the South Gauteng High Court, highlighting the bad behaviors of these defense lawyers? Isn't it when there's discrimination, they write to the JSC? Why are they not writing now to the Judge President of the Gauteng, highlighting the misbehaviors of their colleagues? Bradeni, if you remember or you have watched before, Judge on Tahata or something like that, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Judge on Unterholter or something,
yes,
did not get a position at Constitutional Court and Supreme Court, not once. The last time or the second time, the Black Legal Council wrote to the JSE complaining in the manner that in which he treated black female lawyers. Are you with me, brother? But the very Black Legal Council, 2 judges are mistreated by the black lawyers in court. Is that acceptable? But they're not writing. Are you with me? They're not writing because it seems as if they are setting a precedent, a bad precedent, that in this sense of case, we will misbehave so that no one can forget us. But in the same manner, I am worried about someone who can brief Mnis, who can brief Mgomezulu after this case. Are you with me?
yes.
No, please, guys, the lawyers, answer this Black Legal Council. Can they do something? Second point, can the Judge President or the Deputy Judge President of the Gauteng High Court call these lawyers in the chambers and tell them to tone it down? Bradeni, how many times must Rata say, I've been in this, doing this for a very long time? How many times? Because when he says that, it must dawn on you that this person, he says, I'm old, I've got enough experience. Please behave. How many times must he say that? I've been doing this. Eh? Mnisi was not in court yesterday. What he did was wrong. Because if he wanted, Judge Rata could have closed his examination and say, move on. But he comes and behaves like this. Hey, man. Thank you, Braden.
Thank you.
I wish these colleagues will answer that.
Thank you, Hachi. And thank you guys. We've just passed over 500,000 likes now, sitting on 524 with over 1.6 people on this live. I'm sure we can hit the next target in less than 10 minutes. So let's see if we can do that. Let's continue double tapping our screens. Ntando, I don't know if you want to comment on what Hachi just said.
Let me take it, brother.
Thank you.
One, the Black Lawyers, it was the Black Lawyers Association that wrote to Judge Rata complaining about his comments when he used a blanket approach to say, is this how black lawyers behave? And all of that and all of that. We all know that. Now, coming to you, Hachi, as to your complaint as to why are we not writing to the JSC or what? Look, it's not our job to do that. If Judge Rata Mkhwatleng feels aggrieved about their behavior, he knows where to go. There is an LPC, you can go there and report the behavior that he is not happy with. Even for that matter, the LPC knows about this behavior. The LPC does not have to wait for a complaint. They should have a long time ago called these guys and tell them to behave. Remember at the time of Advocate Tefo, the LPC wrote to all of us an email to say, guys, let's keep the court decorum. Because what is happening on the Senzo Meiwa case is not right. And there was no complaint about Tefo. But the LPC told us, we knew what they were talking about. Now, we are not going to come and go tell the LPC that we are not happy about our own colleagues' behavior. We are not going to do that. That we are not going to do. The LPC must act. That case is televised. Judge Rata Mkhwatleng must act if he is not happy about their behavior. The Judge President of the North Gauteng High Court, Judge Mlambo, must complain to the LPC. The LPC is there, is open. So we are not a governing body as the Black Lawyers Association. We are not a governing body of lawyers. So we do not govern how lawyers must behave. We can talk to them, those who know him, but we are not going to, as the Black Lawyers Association, go and report them to the LPC. That we are not going to do. I think it answers it all, because it's not as if this misbehavior is happening under the ground. Everyone can see it. The LPC can see it. They are quiet. And the judge can go to the LPC and say, I'm not happy with these people. Take action against them. So, not the Black Lawyers Association that must discipline them. We do not have such powers. We are just an association that looks to the interests of black lawyers. So we cannot discipline anyone.
Thank
So I
you.
hope it answers you, Hachi. But I can listen to you if you want to take it further.
No, Bradeni. Sometimes other things, they don't need discipline, but a realignment. Are you with me? We're not saying the Black Lawyers Association must report them to LPC, no. But the Black Lawyers Association, can they call these guys, say, hey, please behave, like what you said. Now, one of you in the Black Lawyers Association, can you just give a call to these guys? You say, hey, please behave. Do this and this is unacceptable. Yes, I hear that Judge Rata can complain to the LPC. He can do that if he chooses to, but he hasn't done so. So my worry was, but these ones, they are the one you right to point it out. They wrote to Rata to say, hey, what you say was wrong. Yes, he was. But why they can't in the same breath, do that to these lawyers, write to them. Say, please, guys, without this matter being taken to LPC. Thank you.
You know what we are saying, Ashi? I fully agree with you. For that matter, tomorrow I can call the deputy president because I've got his cell number.
Please.
Just to send a letter to them and say, gentlemen, remember we sent a letter to the judge. And now what we are doing, no. That can be done, Ash. Consider it done, Ash.
Thank you, my brother. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It's not like we want to report them, but their behavior is unacceptable.
I understand. On that side, I agree with you. With the behavior, you will remember I always commented about it here in this life. So
what's going on now? Who's snoring here? Yeah.
kwenzekani bratini ubalo mntu ukhona yapha.
Yes, man.
I think Hachi, it settles it. Consider it done.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, Papa.
Thank you, Hachi, and thank you, Ntando, for that fruitful engagement. And by the way, Hachi, as you go away, just to add on what Ntando said earlier, Advocate Tefo, or the now disbarred Advocate Tefo, was first reported to the LPC by the judges of the Labour Court after he disrespected them. So like Ntando was saying, Judge Rata can report these guys to the LPC. There was a point where I thought he will report Zandile Mshololo when she screamed at the judge. But it might be possible that Judge Ratam wants to finish this case. And he knows that the moment he starts reporting these guys, somehow there might be unintended consequences that will cause further delays to the trial. So we don't know. Somebody says, let me see. Tox Masinga says, I think she was reported. So yeah, some of these things might be happening without our knowledge. But yeah, thank you once again.
Brad and Dando, thank you guys.
Thank you. Over 580,000 likes, guys. Thank you. 600 is loading in less than 3 minutes. Thank you. Kuzo, good evening.
Good evening, Bradeni. Good evening, says Brenda, Hachi, Tando, and Coco. Thank you so much, guys. And I really appreciate the opportunity that you give me to make the contribution or make my submission. You know, thank you. Let me start by Sergeant, is it Mogola or Magola?
Mogola.
You know, Mogola, yeah. I'm very happy. I'm very happy the way she was responding to defense lawyer, because we know very well that sometimes lawyers they try to manipulate the witnesses. Let me say they think that maybe they are the accused, of which witnesses are also willing to help the state so that the main perpetrator can be found. So I really like the way she was defending herself. I don't know if maybe I can use that word, but I think the defensive lawyer tried by all means to abuse her, but I'm very happy about the way she responded. And then again, Bradeni, I would like to say something about this hearsay of this advocate Munisi, that there were people who threatened him. I don't know how can you. First of all, what is threat? Threat is a criminal offense. Once you see that your life is in danger, I mean, who is Advocate Muniz? He knows better. He knows the protocols and the all these things to report a case. So first of all, the first step is to go to a police station and open a case. You understand? So that the investigations can be commenced. You cannot go or you cannot use a platform that you have given at court to defend the accused and then complain about your personal life. You understand? He was supposed to go to police station like any other South African, open a case so that the matter can be investigated. You understand? So I think I don't even think, how did he know that these people, they were threatening him or they were just an ordinary thieves outside his house? How did he know that maybe these people, they don't even know him? They just wanted to steal. You understand? How did he know that their intentions was to threaten him? So I think, I don't think there were even people outside his house. He can see that the floods are already in the house. He can see that he's losing the battle. He can see that he's run out of he's run out of ways to defend his client. So he's trying by all means to come with lame and unnecessary excuses. I don't believe his statement. And then another thing, Bradeni, I want to say something about Dr. Robert Zwane. I think that old man, he was honest, and then he had no reason to lie when he said, I remember lo mfana lo wagasbia. He had no reason to lie. The main reason why he remembered him is because this boy was his client. And there's no way that you can forget the clinical picture of someone that you saw him thrice or twice. It's not easy. So this is your regular, even you, Bradeni, you know some of your regular panelists here on your panel. Immediately when you see Ndando, you know that Ndando was here last week, Ndando was here yesterday. So Dr. Robert Zwane had no reason to lie. Sibia was there with other two to consult. You understand? So I just wish that during the conclusion, they can take it in a consideration. And then another thing that I want to finish with it, I want to say to South Africans that, guys, let us be patient. I see the light. I smell justice. I can see that, I can see where we are going. I can see that we are about to reach the conclusion. Let us hold a little bit longer. Soon, very soon, Mastermind is going to be arrested. Very soon, we are going to see the perpetrator behind the bars. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.